Okay, guys, and we're back with another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest. I'm Seth from the Lonely Stoner podcast, and this is episode 20 of my side quest. Now, in these episodes, previously we've talked about mostly MMA and boxing. Last episode we talked a bit about the Roadhouse sequel, and in this episode we're going to talk about some more movie and TV news, particularly DC and Star Wars for the most part. But let's kick it off with the DC news. Xolo Maduena recently said in an interview that they're expecting to shoot a Blue Beetle animated series at some point this year for it to release next year. Now, I'm really happy to see Xolo Maduena come back and reprise his role as Blue Beetle, because the Blue Beetle film that came out in 2023, I believe, mid-2023, it was quite a good film. Maybe let's not stretch it. It was a good enough film. It was inoffensive. It wasn't bad. You know, I wasn't watching like, oh, this is awful. It had some emotional moments. The suit is really cool. I really like the Blue Beetle suit. The story was pretty basic, but I'd rather that than them trying to do way too much in the story. It was basic. It was easy to follow. The characters for the most part were really likable. All of them, to be fair. There wasn't really any characters I didn't really like. The villain was a bit lackluster. The woman villain, of course. But that's probably the only thing I could really take away from the film, that she was a bit boring, a bit lackluster, just one of these villains that are just kind of evil for the sake of it. But I say all that to say, the Blue Beetle film was okay. I'm not sure how well it did financially in the box office. Excuse me. I'm not sure how well it did in the box office, but, you know, regardless, I'm happy that Xolo Maduena is coming back and reprising his role. I think that always was the plan as well. I don't think the plan was ever for it to be a one and done. James Gunn even said that himself, that regardless of how well the film does, he will be our Blue Beetle. So if the film does really well, then it will get a sequel. But even if the film doesn't do that well, he'll still be our Blue Beetle. And we're going to see that in the animated series as well, where he's going to be playing Blue Beetle again. I really like the suit. I liked like the creativity they kind of had with it. And I think in an animated show, that creativity could be just off the rails even more. So I could really like to see what sort of direction they go in that with. Will it be like a direct continuation from the film? I hope so. Where they've got Xolo Maduena doing it, I'd imagine it would be. It kind of would have to be, yeah, because the Blue Beetle film was like his origin, him becoming the Blue Beetle. So then the subsequent animated series must be like a continuation from that. Which, to be fair, I would be actually pretty interested to see. So that he's saying he's hoping for that to come out in 2026. But we'll see, because there's production schedules and these things can change, delays happen, and all that. I'd be interested to see like the animation style. So the recent animation styles that DC have been using in terms of the Caped Crusader and Creature Commando, they're not amazing, but they're not awful. They're not as bad as some of the other ones I've seen, which I'll talk about probably on the podcast with my colleague Evan. But yeah, the animation styles that DC have been using recently in terms of Cape Crusader and Creature Commando, they've been better than some of the other ones that I've seen. I didn't mind that animation style too much. It was watchable. You know, it was watchable. Some of these other ones are really just not even watchable, and you're like, this is just... Like, you just end up not even watching it. Like I said, it's unwatchable. You don't even want to watch it. You watch it for like 30 seconds, like, this looks just weird and janky. Let me just turn this off. But yeah, interested to see what's next for Blue Beetle. I would love to see him in some future team ups. I think he probably will be, because he's going to be a key part of the DCU. Of course, he's not going to be a integral part like a Superman or Batman or Aquaman or Wonder Woman or Supergirl or whoever. But Blue Beetle's a character with a lot of potential as well. Xolo Maduena is a young actor. And he's got a really cool sort of character there. In terms of his suit being able to do so much stuff, you've got, you know, there's paths for them to go down that can make an interesting story, potentially some more interesting villains, and subsequently some interesting movies, shows, whatever. But next we've got, from Star Wars world, Andor saying that it's been cut from... That the second season of Andor will be the final season. So originally, I think the plan was for there to be 5 seasons of Andor, but they're saying now that it's just going to be the second season's going to come out and that's going to be it. Which I definitely understand why, because the Andor series cost over 250 million to make, insane amounts of money for a TV show. But that's probably one of the only times in recent memory that Disney's spent money on something and it's worked out. Andor is so good. Andor is one of the best shows. Regardless, I wouldn't say one of the best Disney shows. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen. It's up there with Succession, Sopranos, Wire, Breaking Bad. The thing is with Andor, because it's only been for one season, it's hard to put that show in the same conversation as those shows that went for 4, 5, 6 seasons. But Andor is amazing, and interested to see what they've got for the second season. But Andor's one of these shows that really couldn't go on forever. A show like The Wire could have gone on forever because the main character is based like Baltimore. It's not even a person. It's this place where they live. But Andor is a prequel to a prequel. To a prequel even. Damn. Because Rogue One is a prequel to the prequel trilogy, and Andor's a prequel to Rogue One. So, again, you're just going further back in time. These shows can't last forever. And to be fair, I don't really even like prequels. I really don't like prequels because you know how they end, of course. You know that no matter what this guy does, let's say he dies in the third film, or let's say he dies in the film, and they do a prequel. I don't care what this guy does in this film. I know he's dead already. But that's why I don't like prequels, but Andor was so good. And that's what I'm saying, that's what makes it so, that's why it's so good, because I'm already going into it not liking prequels, and I think it's an amazing show. So that really speaks to how good the show is, in my opinion. What I loved about Andor is like, they had like these mini story arcs within the season, and I'm like, a couple of seasons in, I'm like, damn, that's a great season finale, but then the show carries on, and into another arc. And I'm like, wow, that's another great season finale, and then it carries on into another. It's just amazing. It's just an amazing show. A shame that we're not going to get 5 seasons of it, but imagine if they spent 250 mil on each season and they did 5 seasons. That's over $1 billion. And there is no way on earth Marvel, Disney is making that money back on a streaming service. That is not happening. Be under no illusions whatsoever that Disney is not making any money from all these shows that they're spending hundreds of millions on just for it to go on Disney Plus. Ahsoka, Secret Invasion, Andor. Despite Andor actually being good, there's no way they're making money on it. She-Hulk was bad, but again, there's no way they're making money on it. Moon Knight, all these shows, you know. But a very interesting bit of news for me, in my opinion. There, a shame about Andor, because I would have really liked to see that show sort of carry on, but I understand why. I think even the actor who plays Cassian Andor, he said he was like kind of relieved that it's only going to be 2 seasons. He said if they would do 5 seasons of that, it would have killed him, which we definitely don't want. We definitely don't want him dead, because he's a great actor and done an amazing job in Rogue One, and even better job in Andor. So I mean, both of these sort of movie franchises in Star Wars and the DC universe, they're in interesting moments. They're sort of in, well, I think Star Wars for the most part is pretty dead at this point, with Andor being the only real saving grace. But in terms of viewership, I hear that Andor didn't even do that well when it initially dropped. Star Wars, they've not really got much to look forward to. I guess Andor season 2, but that'll cost them loads of money. They won't make any money back from that. This is my point. I think hopefully it'll be critically acclaimed. I'm sure it will be, because if it's the same guys that are making Andor season 1, Andor season 2 should be just as good, if not better. They've got the Mandalorian and Grogu film that's supposed to be coming out. You know, whatever they want to do with that, I don't know, because that story is pretty much dead at this point. I think you have some cool moments with Grogu, because he's kind of cute, that kind of watchable. You kind of want to see what he's going to do. Mandalorian is a pretty cool character as well, but how many seasons of that did they do? 4 seasons? 4 seasons? And by the end, it was just rubbed. Even though I didn't mind it myself, in terms of viewership and it being critically acclaimed, like, it was not well received at all. I didn't mind it because I liked the world building elements of it. But if you're just world building just to sort of get through episodes and then you're not actually leading to anything, which is what it looks like is going to happen, where you spent this time building up these other Mandalorians just for the show to end, and then you're gonna have a movie that's gonna end it. So like, what was the point in wasting that time in the final season doing that world building? Which is probably why a lot of people don't like it, because you're world building and it's just leading to nothing. So you just built up a world and a universe that people aren't really interested in, to be honest, but some people are interested in, and then you're just not gonna follow up on it at all. So yeah, Star Wars is an interesting moment. DC's in a very interesting moment where they've got, obviously, this news about Blue Beetle, and then the Superman film dropping this summer. Peacekeeper Season 2, Peacemaker, not Peacekeeper, is it Peacemaker? Yeah, Peacemaker Season 2 coming out. That should be good, because Season 1, Season 1 was really good. But yeah, we'll see what's next for both these guys. I mean, Marvel's cooked. Star Wars is pretty cooked. DC was cooked. DC's might be able to make a comeback, but we'll see. We'll see if DC can make a comeback. But yeah, that's been it from me. I've been Seth. It's been episode 20 of my side quest, and I'm out. Cool.